of some lonely fellows who spend way too much time watching the TV. All of them have jobs and friends. Well, not really. Just between you and me.
All right, Sal.
And then one day they went live on all the. Is that? They made a live show out of their hobby. Every TV watcher's TV watching dream. There's Jeff and Ron and Sal and Bob and Marcy sometimes. They all call us crossing the streams.
And then one day they went live on all the platforms. You could hear the people laugh and shout and scream. Still can't find another word that rhymes with platform, but man, we cross the stream.
Hey,
Everyone, we cross the streams.
we cross the streams.
We cross the
We
streams.
cross the stream.
We cross the
That's
streams.
the way we do it. Here we cross the streams.
All right.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, we are. So welcome everybody. Jerry, what's up? Lee, what's up?
Lee
Guys-
in the house.
Guys,
Lee,
this
good
is-
to see you, sweetie.
Jerry in the house.
Hey, Dirk.
guys, you know what? This is episode 123.
Wow.
123. Whoops, we're not discussing
AJ.
that yet.
What's up, buddy?
We're 123. We're live on Twitch as always.
That's too many episodes.
If you're the 0.5 viewer on Twitch that watches us every week, that causes the round up to 1. Thank you very much from all of us here. We
Twitch.
Twitch.
Hey,
welcome-
congratulations to you, sir, on Classic Conversations reaching #1
Wow. That's
on
big
Apple
time.
Podcasts.
Very good job, man.
Jeff is
Yeah.
very humble about that today, but I think he needs
Wow.
to toot his own horn. As
and it's on the chart on Apple TV, Apple Podcast, TV film, or film interview category under TV film. which
Very
is cool.
nice.
I'm in the
Well-deserved,
top
well-deserved.
30 on TV film, which is nice as
Yeah.
well. So that's cool. I
Very
wish
cool.
on the app it reflected what they show in Chartable, but whatever.
Yeah.
Take what you can get, boys.
Hell yeah,
Just-
man. Take it. That's great.
So
Yeah.
anyway, so that's cool. Thank you. Well, anyway, welcome everybody to Crossing the Streams, episode 123. Can you believe it? 120. We have over 120 hours of streaming suggestions on our YouTube channel.
Too many hours.
I think we're streaming now live on Mix channel. I don't know. It's
Yep.
StreamYard
Yep.
is rocking. So this is Crossing the Streams is where we answer the universal question: what should I binge next? I just watched something, and now I got to watch something else. We've come to the right place. Between the four of us here, just tonight alone, 10,000 years of watching experience. So it's exciting, and well, top
My
of the-
Lanta.
while doing well in the Apple podcast,
My
we are
land.
we are #1 in Honduras as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank
Honduras.
you. Oh, what's this?
Like the World Cup.
Deadpool. Hey, what's up? Oh, Mick has one of his friends.
Lee was rolling in there for a minute.
Lee's bringing in. Mick's bringing in huge numbers for us. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for your
So
business.
a couple kind of things real quick. Pee Wee Herman
Yeah.
yeah,
Rubens.
man. Real sad.
Passed away. That was like he didn't tell anyone he was sick. Like it seems like even his good friends. And I've been seeing all these videos that he makes of the people that he was friends with. Like I think one was for I can't remember, but it was like this happy birthday video that he made.
Yeah.
Like he was
Yeah,
it was
I
just
saw
so
that
cool.
one.
And
Yeah.
I love it. Like on TikTok, you can't go anywhere without every other thing being a Paul Rubens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
You know,
He's good, man.
I just learned yesterday watching it though. He was best friends with what's his name from Sofia Vergara's husband, Joe Manganiello.
Yeah.
It was like best friend as best
Wow.
man at his wedding and such. Like they were close.
I didn't know that.
And I've been reading stories that are surfacing now about fans saying they had these really gracious encounters with him, like after a show or something, and they would talk to him about some problem. He'd say, call me. He would give them
Wow.
his phone number, and they would be like kind of sheepish. He'd be like, all right, a couple weeks, by the way, I'll call him. He goes, I remember you. I gave you my number. Come on over. We'll have a sandwich.
Jeez.
That's
I was
awesome.
watching him on the fifth Young Comedian special.
Yeah.
He did Pee Wee as a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
I And then there was a funny clip going around of him like on the wrestling, like and like in like a whole, you know how they used to do those big like skits. It was like he was in the mouthing off with one of the other wrestlers who I didn't know who it was. And then I sent you guys the one where he did like that 5-minute joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About the his face rings a bell.
Yeah, I love that one.
So funny. Just ridiculous. And Letterman's off in the corner just crying. It's so funny.
I have to go watch Pee-wee's Big Adventure again. And I mean, I guess people to this day still ask about the basement in the Alamo.
Pretty amazing.
It is pretty amazing.
Great career, man. Great career.
So
Jeez,
cool.
gone
So
too
cool.
soon, man.
All right, so a couple cleanup items too. Mick, talk to me about real quick. I know we talked about Secret Invasion last week, but I think we share similar thoughts on this show. So let me know the McManhattan Secret Invasion.
Well, I don't know. Like, based on as a show, the acting was great. I thought the actors that were in it did great with the material they were given. Unfortunately, they were given that material. It's just, this is Marvel. The MCU has set up, you know, this phase 4 and this phase 5, like it just boggles my mind, because it's like you set this bar for us, and I'm not saying you have to blow it out of the water every time with every movie and every show, but at least aim for it. It seems like now it's just like, whatever, we're just going to be putting stuff out, and it just is not good, and sometimes it seems unfinished. This show, 6 episodes, you told a story that was dull. Nothing really to it. It doesn't really tie anything in. You don't really need to say anything about it. All it really does is tie up the Skrull storyline from Captain Marvel, which we didn't really care about anyway. You know, so overall, like I'm watching this over 6, you know, and I'm super excited for it because it has all actors I love in it. Samuel L. Jackson playing Nick Fury. I love this character, and he's back. And they don't really give us anything. They don't add anything to it. They have source material. The comic series that they base this off of was fantastic and so well done, and done on such an epic level for readers that it retconned things for years and years to come that go back to the 60s. You could have used this to really propel yourselves in this television series to tell stories and do things and retcon things for your favor. First of all, get rid of actors, change things around however you wanted to do it. And you just missed the ball completely. It's almost like nobody was at the helm here doing anything other than just filming it. And it was stupid. I have to give this one a stupid on all levels.
Yeah. Not
We
going to
got,
watch it.
Deadpool. I thought the show would give us more shocking Skrull reveals, but nothing. Right? The big reveal was, by the way, Rhodey was a Skrull. Sorry to ruin it for anyone, but it literally means nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. They let you know early on, and then now they're saying he was a Skrull in Civil War. Okay, but he didn't do anything that would have mattered if he was a Skrull or a human. He only started acting like a douchebag in episode 2 and 3 of Secret Invasion. I mean, and then they resolved that by the end of the episode. By the end of the show,
And at the very
end
least,
of the show,
what you're telling us is he wasn't actually there when and fought alongside his best friend and watched him die, and he missed his funeral. So, like,
just like a
setting
Skrull.
up a sad storyline of grieving. Thanks, MCU. That's
Again.
exactly what I want. Right. I gotta tell you, the end with the Super Skrulls, I thought was the dumbest thing ever. Okay, I'm sorry to ruin this for anyone, but I feel like by warning you, I'm not ruining it. So they get this for some reason. They thought it was a good idea to collect the DNA of all the superheroes in the world and put it in a single vial. Okay, whatever. And so the evil Skrulls wanted this, and somehow, I guess at the end, they give it to them. And so they do this thing where I don't remember. It's from Iron Man 3, where they kind of what was that called again, Mick? You know,
the premise.
They heat up.
It heals yourself.
yeah. So they sync their DNA Every superhero's DNA gets synced into the two evil scrolls, and then they have a battle. But like only their arm changes. Like all of a sudden, somehow DNA works where it just literally transforms a part of you into that person, right? I mean, it's like nobody. It didn't even make sense. And like this is the part that killed me, Mick, is the way that she ends up killing the guy is becoming Mantis and putting him to sleep. Now, okay, first of all, if I get injected with 500 superheroes, I don't know how to control 500 superheroes within 5 seconds. One, it would probably explode your body. I mean, it doesn't even make sense. But forget that for a second. She calls on Mantis and knows how to use Mantis's power. Correct me if you don't agree with this, Mick. No one in the MCU, except us, the people who've seen the Guardians movies and the 5 Guardians, know who the hell a Mantis is, let alone her power, right?
Yeah.
They wouldn't have known who she is, right?
Nope.
No. And so for her to like randomly call upon this character and use her little sleep trick, it was just insane. It was just like, okay, now you're not even trying. Now you are literally not even trying.
Yeah. No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like it does. It like to me, when she got big, I'm like she got Drax's arm and she started fighting him. Then she started fighting with like Captain Marvel's powers. I'm like, this is a time where you could really, first of all, it's stupid. Like, I don't even like, there's one Skrull in the comic books that has all 4 Fantastic Four powers. And that's sort of what they were basing this off of. And the only reason they did that is because that was the only one they could figure out at first to add the power, whatever. I'm not even going to get into all that because that's comic lore. But for this, like, yeah, we didn't need that. We didn't. Yeah, first of all, there's 2 because she uses Drax's like arm to punch him at one point. It's like, so that's 2 Guardians we get at one point. He uses Groot's arm in one episode, so that's 3 Guardians we get in this
Groot's
whole array of 500 superheroes. So like, what do we like? There's no other superheroes we could use. You're not going to utilize She-Hulk, one of the TV shows that was big last year, or any of the other ones that you want to probably promote at this particular moment in time, or stuff like that. I don't know. It's just so stupid.
Yeah.
I did not see any of that show, and I've seen precious little of the Marvel TV shows, although I did like Loki. That was fun to watch. But I have to say, whatever they're putting out, it's got to be better than the DC crap. I mean, somebody did The Flash. I wasn't here for that show, but my Lord. They can't get anything right.
I like The Flash.
Well, I liked the Michael Keaton parts, right? And I liked, I love that big reveal of all the Supermans. That was cool, but I don't know. DC just can't figure it out.
It seems like they just do the same thing over and over. As my
True,
wrong, I don't
Jerry.
watch these shows, a lot of these movies, but it seems like it's repetitive.
It's like they had a thing. It's just like anything. Once they start making too much money, then
They want to, yeah.
it all goes to shit. And they had they had the greatest thing going. So Nick Fury's awesome. They killed 2 great characters in Secret Invasion for a waste of they killed 2. Maria Hill and Talos, and for no reason. Maria Hill was like, you could tell it was like, oh, we better do something in our first episode to get people talking, and then like it just out of nowhere for no reason. And honestly, I don't even think it compelled him to do anything. I mean, it was just like all it did was make it so that they had something to hold over Nick Fury's head, but he didn't give a shit. It was horrible. I mean, it was just not a good end for that character, who was a great kind of character just along the whole ride. And I think the only thing we really learned here is Nick Fury was a shit husband. I mean, basically, they just went out of his way to make him. Anywho, all right.
He had a wandering eye.
No,
such a shit husband. Such a shit husband. He left, and she joined a terrorist group.
Yeah.
Hello.
Like that's what she found better.
But like Mick said, there is some good acting in it, though. All right. And then, okay. Speaking of Michael Keaton, Batman, Pee Wee Herman was the Penguin's dad in Batman Returns. So
Oh, that's
Wow,
right.
Yeah. Wow.
And Gotham he was too.
oh really?
My favorite Pee Wee role, other than Pee Wee, was I can't remember his name. This is almost 25 years ago. He played a the Mystery Men, which is
Oh
one of
yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
all-time favorite movies. He just farts.
The fart.
That's his superpower.
I love that movie.
I love it. I do.
I love that movie. Like Ben Stiller's was just
Yes.
got really mad or
Mr.
something.
Fury.
Yeah.
Any movie that can make Janine Garofalo likable is a good movie, because that was the last time anybody wanted to watch her.
Yeah.
It was a good movie. I don't
It
think it
was.
was. I don't think people remember it being a good movie, or I don't think they enjoyed it. But I thought it was good.
I loved it.
I loved it. I
Yeah,
remember
all the
watching it a
time.
lot. Okay, cool. Let's jump into some stuff. So last week we talked about the Barbie movie.
Oh
which
yeah.
I liked a lot.
Yeah,
We
I
talked
heard about
Flash
Still
that.
haven't seen it. I haven't
and
seen
Secret
it.
Invasion. Do you like women, Sal?
Yes. I
Okay,
do.
then you're gonna like the Barbie movie.
Okay.
That's
All
pretty
I'll
much
check
it.
it out. I'll
If you're
check
a
it out.
man who
Mike.
doesn't like women or empowerment,
It
then you
looks like
won't
something
it.
all the kids are seeing it, so I'll
It's
see
not a
it.
kids movie. It's not a
Well,
kids
I'm
movie.
just saying
I know.
the
I'm just saying.
adults.
Today we're going to talk about Missing, the Lucy Blackman case, the Golden Boy, the Beanie Bubble, and the Bear. All right, let's kick things off with the Golden Boy.
Oh. Okay. So Oscar De La Hoya,
I think I saw this one, man.
one of my favorite fighters of all time. It's a 2-part HBO documentary. Really well done in terms of the production values and the scripting and all that. Mark Wahlberg I think he was executive producer on this. So it's got a lot of money. It's got a lot of panache. Oscar De La Hoya's life. He is one of the top. I'm going to say he's one of the top 20 boxers of all time. He's not a top 10, but he's a top 20. And all the thousands of boxers over the years, that's a pretty good thing to say about a guy. But if you remember him in his fighting days, he's 50 now. And he still is a good-looking guy. But he was just like this ridiculously good-looking young fighter who won the gold medal in Barcelona in, I think it was 92. And the women just would literally throw themselves at him. There's a point in this documentary where his friend is recounting that there was a stretch of time that Oscar figured he had bedded 500 women over a 2-year span, and it's not at all.
Just 3 shy of Sal's number.
So the story of Oscar is basically this, and why I watched this. There was a couple of disappointments in this, and I'll get to that in a second. But the reason, what I was looking for was they didn't deliver what was promised. What they promised was a tell-all, down to brass tacks, tell the real story, and as documentaries go, if the person's still living, you generally expect it to end on a positive note, that they've conquered whatever demons they had, or whatever horrible upbringing they had. No, he didn't have a horrible upbringing. He was born in East LA to 2 Mexican parents, and so he had his a foot in both worlds when he became a fighter. And his legend began when he was 19 and won the gold medal in Barcelona. And he said that he won that medal for his mother. He said that before she died, he promised her he was going to win this gold medal. And it turns out, this is something you find out pretty early on, that was all a lie. He never, he was not close to his mother. She savagely beat him, was abusive as hell to him and not to his other siblings for some reason. And, he's like a lot of people that have that happen to him. He loved her because she was his mother, but he hated her. I mean, he never made that promise. It was a good story. The press ran with it, and it catapulted him into, good guy champ status for years. And he lived with that lie, and he kept propagating that. And through about a 10-year stretch, he just laid waste to the lightweight junior welterweight division. Just was just so far and away the best fighter of his era that he and at the same time he was drinking and partying all the time because like Roberto Duran and a lot of people from that background, they didn't have a lot growing up. So all of a sudden the money's rolling in and there was nothing that he couldn't buy, literally nothing. I mean, the guy's making $20 million a fight back in the 90s, right? That's crazy.
Wow.
So he had this life. And I found out some things about him that kind of bummed me out because I wanted to believe that he was at least part of the guy that he portrayed, you know, in his boxing days, that he wanted to be a role model and he wanted to be this guy for kids in the barrio and that. And yeah, I had 3 different kids that they show in the documentary. I don't know, there might be more, by 3 different women, all of whom he cheated on. Just, you know, I mean, like dozens and dozens of times over the years, and never paid any attention to the kids that he had. Sent them money, put them through school, did the right thing that way, but never got involved in their lives. And I didn't know that about him because people didn't let that out about him. I mean, you don't expect his agent to talk about that kind of stuff, but it just went under the radar. And while he was just cooking the divisions that he boxed in and everybody else that they put in front of him, he had this secret, and he said he was going to divulge the truth about this during this documentary. Well, I guess this is what, 2008, maybe 2008, so 15 years ago. At the height of his fame and at the height of his earning power, you know, he's got private jets. He's just, you know, he's all over the world, houses in Puerto Rico, on the beach. And he leaves his wife in LA and his kid there and just, you know, goes crazy in New York for a weekend and wakes up one morning to the news that there are pictures of him in drag all over the world. Now, it's not like it was today, right? I mean, was Twitter even around in 2000? I think it was around, wasn't it? But it didn't have, but it wasn't, it just, you know, things didn't circle the globe as fast as they do now. Now it's a microsecond,
Exactly.
right? But within a day, everybody knew and everybody saw these pictures of Oscar De La Hoya, this lethal champion who had taken out so many people in his career in fishnet stockings and wigs and high heels, all different kinds of poses and different get-ups. And with him is this, I forget where she's from in South America, but she was wound up working in Russia, and she was this woman that he would retreat to in New York when he got sick of being with his wife. Well, Oscar De La Hoya, you know, the thing, imagine that happening today. Well, it might not even be a shock today, but it was dumbfounding. Like, what? How did this? What's going on with this guy? Well, he hired a guy. He hired some forensic photo experts that through the magic of money determined that these were photoshopped.
Wow.
And they weren't real. And he got away with that for a while. People went, oh, okay, well, I guess, yeah, that happens. And then this guy's on TV showing the pixelation around certain areas of the photographs and all this nonsense. Well, they were real. And it didn't happen once. It happened many times. And while he was with this woman and her friends. And, you know, I was like, whatever, dude likes dressing up. This was the thing that he was touting, you know, in the promotion of this documentary, that he was going to finally get to the truth of. And he didn't. He stopped short again. He said that it was just, he doesn't remember any of it. He just remembers being in a hotel room with 3 women and got blackout wasted and woke up the next morning and all these pictures were over the internet. So he didn't quite go all the way with the confession. And I mean, he didn't have to for me or anybody else's gratification, but that element of it is kind of shot through the whole documentary. They want to show him as being this contrite former drug using alcoholic, wife, cheating on his wife. He didn't. There were many accusations of sexual assault against him that I didn't know about, that they kept hidden. Simpler times, but they you hoped, I hoped that the end was going to be him saying, okay, but that's behind me now, and I'm going to get this together. Well, not so. Still drinking, still being an ass, and his kids are ambivalent about him. They try to have relationships with him. So it was in that you found out the real truth, right? But the way they had it set up, it was a little disappointing. So there you go.
Wow.
Well,
that's not the one I saw though, Bob. So I apologize. I said that earlier, but I didn't see that one. So
okay, that's brand new. I think it's like a week old.
Oh, okay. I was.
It's worth a watch.
He saw the Golden Showers, and it's a whole different movie. It's a whole different movie. What is it?
He was watching the Trump tape.
Talking about the P tape.
All right, folks. Thank you, Bob.
You're welcome.
Good job, Bob.
Is
Good
really.
job.
Hope I didn't bore you with that. I do tend to go on.
I'll check it out.
Be fascinated by your boxing deep dives. To be quite
all right.
All right.
Well
up next,
done.
Mick Manhattan is here to talk about The Bear, which just finished season 2, or at least to me it did. I'm excited because I just watched this as well, and
I gotta see this.
Let's do it.
Listen.
The Bear.
The Bear season 2.
It says.
You know what? Actually, going into this second season, because that first season was wonderfully done. It's a great series. It's one of the best series on TV. I think everybody should watch this show.
I've heard it's awesome.
It handles working in a kitchen perfectly from every aspect. And it just, that first season, just every character you care about. And there's growth throughout the entire thing. Now, I talked about that. You should go back and watch that episode of Crossing the Streams when I talked about season 1, because I'm here to talk about season 2. And season 2, to me, amped it up, and it got way better. So, like, where we saw season 1 leave off, they found money that Carmi's brother, who owns the Beef, the restaurant they work in, it's like a old sandwich shop that their family has had for years. He found a bunch of money they were hiding. There was kind of, Carmi inherited this the sandwich shop after his brother committed suicide, and he's just been trying to keep it above water, make it a reputable place, and kind of keep going with it. So when they get that water, when he gets that money that they were hiding, he decides, all right, I'm going to make this a real restaurant. Because he at one point was the best chef in the world, and he left to come do this, to take over his brother's restaurant. So in this second season, we pick up they are severely underfunded for what they need. And they go to his Uncle Jimmy, who is connected in some way, has a lot of money. And it seems very intimidating guy, says, I will go in and I'll partner with you. There's a lot of stakes to it. I will let you watch. I'm not going to spoil it with that. But he goes in with it, and he says, when can you get this open? He says, 3 months. Give us 3 months. We can get this open. So now it's a tight timeline. The whole season is about them trying from beginning to end to demolish the old restaurant, take everything down to the guts, and rebuild it up into this beautiful, what they want to be like a 5-star rated restaurant in the middle of Chicago. And it's so intense. The whole theme of the series is every second counts. We get everybody's back and then some. And for some reason not for some reason, but somehow they made every character even better in this season. They made them much more interesting. They amped them up. They shined a light on each character throughout every episode that you truly just gravitate towards wanting to watch the next episode and binge this all the way through, because it's just that good. You want to see what happens in the next one, because they're sending all of their chefs all over the world to different restaurants to learn. So like their pastry chefs going to Amsterdam. We have a lot of we have so many amazing high A-list star cameos in this movie, in this TV show throughout this whole series, you know. And I don't want to give any away because, like, if you're watching it, it's a lot of fun to see. But like, you will see some really awesome, recognizable faces.
Are they playing themselves in the restaurant? Like
No,
coming to eat?
they're
Oh,
playing pivotal characters as you're going through,
okay.
and it's not even like a slash, like, oh, okay, they're bringing somebody in to kind of like these characters that these people are playing. They're stepping in, they're acting their asses off because these characters mean something. They should be there. And everybody who is in the show, I went back and I looked it up. It was like they're friends with Jeremy Allen White and other creators of the show, but they were asking to be on the show. Like the woman who plays the mother is a very famous actress. Again, I don't want to give it away because by the time you get to that episode and you see her, it's like, it's nice. It's really nice to see that she's there and she does such an amazing job. I was like, oh, it's great that they reached out to her. But the entirety of that episode is their family at Christmas. And it's a flashback episode. And everyone is a celebrity from Chicago. And I thought that was really cool that they did that. And, you know, because the whole thing is a Chicago-based show and it's very intensely about that. And Chicago is a character in this. So when they play this up and they get to those different characters and you go and you're playing them off each other and how everything's going throughout the story, it really adds to it that these mega actors are there because it adds to the gravitas of what we're going through in each episode. And it really works. So like when we see the mother, the actress who comes in and plays the mother, you're like, wow, okay, cool. And I went back and I'm like, oh, you know, it's great that they went and got it. No, these people are asking to be on the show. That's how much they liked everything that was going on. And that's a testament to that. And as you go on and you watch throughout the rest of the season, like one of the characters from the first season, you may remember, is Richie. He was always sort of the antagonist. He's like the cousin of the main character. He's always kind of pressing buttons, pushing people. He has no real vision for himself, and he's just really a pest in most times. And he starts out that way, but what I love about it is at the end of the last season, he started questioning himself, like, what's my worth? What's my value? What am I looking for here? You know? And by the end of this season, he's your favorite character, hands down. If not him, like, he's a close second. Like, and that's how good and well written this show is. The Bear season 2 is some of the best TV out, and I think people should be sitting there and watching it.
What's
I need
this
to
on,
know.
Nick? What platform is it on?
It's on FX. You can watch it on Hulu. All the episodes are on there now.
And who or what is the Bear? Is the Bear the restaurant?
Their last name is Berowitz or something like that.
Oh,
Berzado. I appreciate you making them Jewish, but it's Berzado.
Berzado. I did it for you, Joe.
So they're Italian?
Yes, I believe so. And
From Jewish to Italian.
yeah, no, they were never Jewish. Just that was just. I agree with Mick 1,000% on this, and I think I started to watch it originally because of Mick's first. I'm calling this kind of like Mick said. This is stop what you're doing and go start watching it tonight.
Wow.
Like, it's that good. It was one of those shows where I had to finish it, but was sad to finish it because I knew it would be over. Okay. And here's the thing. Here's the only warning I give you. The first episode is very, very intense and it's very chaotic, extremely chaotic. I got to say that the people who make this show film chaos better than I've ever seen it captured on TV. However, it's extremely chaotic. Like my wife couldn't watch it the first time we turned it on. And I'm going back a year or so, but she was turned off by it because it was just too much anxiety for her to watch. And but then season 2 came out. Everyone's talking about it. We're like, let's just push through it. Let's go. And it turns out it's like, it's part of the show. Working in a restaurant, people who work in a restaurant will say, or I've heard say, this is extremely realistic in what it's like. The Christmas episode, which Mick said, is an extended episode, And again, it's another chaotic thing, but it's all family kind of drama, chaos, and one of the best shows on TV. Richie, when you watch this show, if you don't end up saying to everybody you know, yes, chef, heard chef, doing this, which I won't tell you what it means, but
Yeah.
Abby Elliott's in this. That's Chris Elliott's daughter. She's
Oh.
incredible. These are the main cast, not the surprise ones. That Jeremy Allen White was in. Oh my God, what was it? Shameless. Thank you. So it's like this incredible cast. I mean, the acting in this is insane. The story arcs. Tell me if you agree with this or not, Meg. I think this is a less schmaltzy, more serious Ted Lasso.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was talking to my wife about it and a friend of ours because I love Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso is a top 5 show for me.
Love Ted Lasso myself too.
Yeah, and so for me watching this, because when I watched this, she was like, "Wow, it's really funny that," because Ted Lasso had just ended when this came out, and Ted Lasso being a very positive show, she goes, "You're going like this seems like a very negative show." I was like, "No, this is very." I was like, "This is to me is a very positive show from a different perspective." I was like, this is a different, it's just shot a different way and it's told from a different perspective, different walk of life and the type of people that they're talking about. I was like, but the positivity and the way everybody comes together and works together and really rallies against each other. And to kind of talk to your point, like where you watch that first episode of season 1 and the utter chaos and even continuing through season 1 and throughout, that utter chaos that you see that really does make you feel uncomfortable. I love the way you put that. By the time you get to the end of season 2, and it is a chaotic episode as well, but to see how they maintain and see how professional they are and see how they've come from, you watch that progression all the way through. So by the time you get to that episode, you're like, yeah, no, they got this. You're good. Mm-hmm. You're not even that worried. You're nervous because you're nervous like you would be if you were working in a high pressure position. But you've watched them now through 20 episodes be able to do it and be able to pull themselves together and learn and figure this out. And I loved that they're able to pull it out and change throughout it. And it juxtaposes everything really well. And to what you're saying, Jeff, it is. I think this matches well with the Ted Lasso theme of rallying together, pulling together, positivity, and working it out.
I love it. I got to say, by the end of season 2, and it was specifically tied to Richie's arc, I found myself looking at life differently. Like there's some episodes where you're like, what changes him will change the way you think as well. And I thought it was just so powerful. I want to watch the whole series again. Like it was that good. I can't wait. And I'm really hoping there's a season 3, but I thought it was so good. So yeah, everyone go see The Bear or go watch The Bear. It's on Hulu.
I'll watch it.
It's 100% worth every second you put into it. Promise.
Nice.
All right. Thank you, Mick.
Thanks, Mick.
Oh, good job, Nick.
All right. Let's talk about, let's bring down the room and talk about
Ooh,
Lucy.
no,
She's missing.
I'm
How
going to
can
be
we
upbeat
relax
about
while
it.
Lucy Blackman's missing?
Yeah, look, there's a lot going on right now in real life on this kind of stuff with the Gilgo Beach murders there that's going on. Yeah. And I think this is what spurred people to watch this because it was in the top 10 on Netflix. That's kind of how it came streaming across my, things to watch or whatever. And I saw that it was in the top. It was actually number 5 for the month. And it's actually 10 years old. This is, if you've seen Dateline, if you've seen all these murder mystery shows out there, if you guys want me to, I'll do it in a Keith Morrison voice. If you want me to do this whole thing like Keith Morrison,
I'm not against it.
A Night in Tokyo. No. So anyway, but this particular case was very, very interesting. This documentary flew by for me because, like I said, I don't know, it just seemed like it really moved great. Sometimes these shows can kind of drag a little bit. And they just kind of give you so much information. You're like, all right, well, what's going on? This one seemed to flow pretty good. It was very, very well done. It's about this girl. Her name is Lucy Blackman. Her and her friend, 21 years old, they decide to go to they're from the UK, and they decide to go to Japan to spend a year there and work and just make money and kind of save up money and kind of just live life for a year in Tokyo. And they become hostesses, and here we might call them escorts, but I really don't even think we have what this is called there, because this is called hostesses. But what they do is they greet men at the establishment, and this particular establishment was called Casablanca, and you just drink with these men. You don't, there's no sex involved, there's no nothing. You're just there to accommodate them, accompany them throughout the whole night. Your job is to get them to drink. That's the bar actually pays you to be a hostess, so you're kind of, you know, getting drinks inside of them. You're drinking yourself a little bit. You're young, you're making money. And then there's also a time where they'll, you know, if they want to ask you outside of the Casablanca and you oblige, then, you know, you can do that. And they were there only a month, and she went missing. And it was kind of low key at first. It kind of made the news a little bit, but then it just kind of got thrown under the rug, and it was just like, okay, you know, American girl missing. But nobody really, it just didn't make the news, didn't make national news. But the parents obviously are heavily involved, and obviously the documentary shows all the clips from this, from the father putting up, the parents flew to Japan, put up posters around town, kind of had some skirmishes with the local police about where they were kind of putting stuff up. So they're kind of getting involved in their own way, but they were just trying to find their daughter. And every few minutes they'll turn a calendar. It'll be like 34 days missing, 62 days missing. The dad put out a $30,000 reward out of his own money. He went and talked to Tony Blair to get Tony Blair, who was the prime minister at that time, to go talk to the Japanese officials, and that worked. That finally got detectives involved in Japan and stuff. So it's really, really cool. Really cool documentary about how all that was going down. And then they have this other girl that was found. She was an Australian model, and they kind of thought that the two killers might be the same, or not killers, but she's missing. But they've got a lead on somebody, and they kind of, through this model that they found, this Australian model who's very famous, who kind of actually reopened up the case of this missing girl, because now it's like at 90 days or 120 days. Anyway, they finally get to where this guy is he's a suspect, and they kind of know it's him, but they can't prove it. They have no bodies or nothing, but they kind of have a feeling that these two are tied. So anyway, they just, all this forensic stuff's going on, and they're just pulling over boxes. They're kind of trying to get this guy, and it's really good how they do all that, but they need the body. And now they're running out of time. They just can't put this guy, and they just need the body. So they start searching. He owns like 3 different apartment complexes or condos throughout this area. So they search in all those areas. They got to just find the body. That's the only way they're going to get him. And there was this little inlet, like a lake inlet, by one of his condos. And one of the searchers, and they show these guys searching all the time around, coming up with nothing. Finally, this guy goes out at like 8 o'clock in the morning. He goes, I don't know why. He goes, I saw this little cave. It's like a little inlet, almost like where the water and the land kind of coincide. And there's this little cave. And the guy goes, wow, it's weird. It's a little cave here, like seaweed come down. And a lot of the stuff from the shore washes up there. So you could have like a purses or just, whatever, anything. And this guy sees a bathtub inside the freaking cave. He's like an old bathtub that was in there. He flips the bathtub. He sees these maggots, which tells him there might be a body at the bottom of this, where this tub was. And obviously that's where they found, unfortunately, that's where they found Lucy Blackman. So they ended up tying him to 8 other women, but when they went to court, they never proved that he was the killer of Lucy Blackman. They just couldn't prove it. I know it sounds crazy, but he did get put away for life on the other charges, so he wasn't seeing the light of day on that. But the family never got closure on their case, even though they found Lucy. They never got closure on it. And to kind of back up, a lot of the Japanese detectives, they got to know these families and the mother and the father and stuff, and they actually became very, very close to the family. And actually, a couple of his Japanese detectives actually went to the UK and spent like a week with this family and where they grew up and where they lived and stuff. They just became friends. It's kind of really, and you never kind of really see that in this kind of story, this kind of thing. So that was really cool. And just a lot of the people go back to that cave, kind of where they found Lucy. And just one night they lit candles out there by the water as the sun was setting, and just kind of remembering Lucy and talking about her, the detectives, the family. It was just how this kind of case became, in a way, it just kind of formulated like this UK family and this kind of these Japanese kind of detectives into a friendship. And it was a really, really cool documentary. I highly recommend it. It's not very long. It's probably an hour and 20 minutes. I know there's a lot of this stuff out there, and but this one kind of ends unfortunate. Lucy was just a 21-year-old girl, man, just trying to find her way and go make money in Tokyo, a beautiful city, obviously, but she just ran into the wrong guy, man. But a very, very good documentary. I highly recommend.
Sal, is this a dubbed? Because I think it was originally a Japanese documentary.
There is some of the dubbing going on when they talk to the Japanese detectives and all of that. That's dubbed, and then obviously when the UK people are talking, it's not. So yeah, but there is a little bit of that. But it's very easy to follow, and but one of the better ones I've seen on this kind of stuff.
How many tomato sauce jars?
I give it. I'm going to give it 5 tomato sauce jars. I thought it was very, very well done.
All right.
5 tomato sauce jars.
Maybe we should do 5 bathtubs
with a sprinkle of oregano on top.
Wow.
That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Well, from one disaster to another, the Beanie Bubble. Whoops. Sorry about that. So
it's coming back.
It's coming back. So I watched the Beanie Bubble. It's an Apple TV movie. So the Beanie Bubble is about Beanie Babies. So you may remember some of these names if you were part of that craze. Patty the Platypus, Cubby the Bear, Squealer the Pig, Legs the Frog, Spot with No Spot, Chocolate the Moose, Flash the Dolphin.
Did they have a Ned Beatty?
So Beanie Babies were created by a company called Ty, and just like anything, it's like cryptocurrency, right? If you put a value to something, suddenly it becomes valuable. And at one point in time, these Beanie Babies, these little stuffed things of various shapes and sizes, or shapes and characters and animals, became, people were making fortunes. And so, I mean, just to give you an idea, there was Patty the Platypus that I mentioned. It at one point sold for $6,000. There was one, McDonald's International Bears in the box sold for $10,000. There was a crab that sold for $9,000. There's a famous Princess Diana bear that had people probably still, someone who has one of those in their basement or somewhere safe in a box, in like a little glass box. And people would buy little tag holders to protect the tie tag that would be on the bear, because you had to leave the tag on and all that kind of stuff. There was a baddie that went for $125,000. I mean, this insane. Okay, so the Beanie Bubble, the movie that I watched, is on Apple TV. Now, the whole time I'm watching it, it's rare. It's about an hour and 50 minutes, so it's a movie. But the whole time I'm thinking to myself, maybe I would have rather just a documentary. There's enough interesting stuff. And at the very beginning, they go out of their way to say enough crazy stuff was true and we put it in the movie, but we also made up some stuff. And all of a sudden it's like, I want to see a movie, with on the kind of the heels of Air, and such a great corporate story, and I want the real story. This was a crazy thing that we all lived through, and I don't want something mostly made up. Rotten Tomatoes, not kind, 49% critic, 62% audience. It's one of those movies. I didn't hate myself for watching it, but I was like, oh, you can see why there's now a market for movies that just end up on a streaming channel. Okay, and that's not an indictment of all movies that just end up on a streaming channel. There's plenty of really good ones, but this one was. If I'd paid to see it, I'd be a lot harsher right now if I had paid to see it. Okay, let's put it this way. This is based on a book, a book written in 2015 called The Great Beanie Baby Bubble. This movie stars, by the way, it's got a star power: Zach Galifianakis, Elizabeth Banks, Sarah Snook, who's Shiv from Succession, and so it tells the story of. What's that noise?
Not me. I don't know.
It tells the story of.
No,
Someone playing. Nick, maybe are you playing something? Okay.
not me,
I don't know what's going on. What's happening? Okay. Anyway, so it tells the story of this guy Ty, who owns Ty. The whole shebang, and the women that really were the ones behind a lot of the success, and. Flash forward, this guy Ty becomes the billionaire and shits on everybody, and tax fraud later. He's still a billionaire today because he bought the Four Seasons Hotel, so he diversified. So he's still rich. Everyone turned out okay from this, but it's interesting. Some of the things I discerned that were interesting about it was, when the Beanie Babies were coming up, they were like the first e-commerce website. So they had one of the younger women that worked there, who later became one of the top renowned e-commerce consultants, kind of had an ear for and an eye for what was happening at the moment. So she built their website, which was one of the very first e-commerce websites. And that helped the Beanie Baby craze sort of start to really kind of grow. This was also, it's funny to hear it out loud now because everyone knows eBay, and eBay has been in our lives forever. eBay was new at this time, and people started selling these Beanie Babies on eBay because Ty's strategy was they would create limited editions. They'd stop making it and they'd go on to something else. And so then those became very popular, and there was this one particular suburb supposedly that they started the whole kind of craze, and they created lists so people could collect them, and so that was just the whole craziness of it. And they used the eBay statistics to understand how the market was working, but it was all this young woman who was being paid nothing, at least according to the movie, and which I believe to be true, and it was just one of those things where
what that is. I have
No
idea.
clue.
It's not from me. I don't have anything on. I could. Sounds like a Zapruder film file recording. or something.
when I mute Mick, it goes away, so I don't know what's happening.
Didn't change anything.
I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, so that's the movie. It's like I said, I didn't hate myself for watching it. If you watch it, you'll be like, okay.
All right.
Okay.
So
Zach
Thai was an American company. I always thought it was Japanese. It's American, huh?
Yeah, it's American. It was a
Okay.
guy.
Wow.
I don't want to say. I tried to just find some stats since I don't know what was real or not real. I will say that on Tubi, there was a documentary I found called The Beanie Bubble, the exact same name, from last year, which is a documentary, which I have not watched, but it seemed to focus a lot on the collectors and stuff like that. But what happened was, ultimately, and we all know people with 5,000 Beanie Babies in their basement right now because that was their retirement. But, people bought these up, and then people, the value went to zero. So it was exciting. I remember when we had kids, there was something similar called Webkins came around, and it was like, and my wife and I would do that with these Webkins where we'd find out one would come, we'd go to a Hallmark and you could only buy 2, and we'd send in the grandma and she'd buy 2, and then someone else, and then we'd sell them on eBay, and we went on vacation with the money we made from that. But that was nothing compared to what people were doing with Beanie Babies. But it's just like anything. If people pay for things that they perceive value in, and the Beanie Baby thing was one of them. And
I had a friend, this is 20 years ago when I was getting a divorce. He was getting a divorce at the same time. He lived out in Royal Oak. And as we would go up Tom's Oyster Bar, eat oysters, drink beer, right? So he goes, "Hey, come on back. I want to show you something. What I've been collecting." And this is 2000. Is that about the right? Is it late 90s, 2000, something like that?
They were launched in 1993.
Okay. So he had just gotten this apartment, beautiful apartment, walked in the door, and I'm not kidding you, there had to have been 1,000 of these lining the walls, shelves, just I'm like, "What, Larry, what is this? What have you done with your life?" He's like, "Yeah, I think I went a little overboard." I said, "You think? Holy shit, I can't believe." I mean, it shocks me this day to see what. And I know he offloaded a lot of that before they went to zero, but that was crazy to see a guy who was a really rational guy just lose his mind over Beanie Babies.
Well, there was a time where people were, the way they kind of showed it in the Ty eventually became like a $1 billion company, and the aftermarket, which was people buying and selling on eBay. At first, at least in the movie, the way they show it is, they didn't like it. And then they were convinced, then the younger woman, again, who had the foresight of all this to understand what was really happening, was like, no, that's what's driving the market. Let that happen. It's fine. And then we do everything we're doing to help feed that market, and we'll make all our money. They can make their money. And so I think eventually what happened with Ty is like they kind of ruined it for themselves. Like they did some things where they just got maybe too greedy or something. And it's just like anything, when you have something and it just works, and then you're trying to make it work instead of just let it work. There's like Marvel, like we talked about. It's it collapses on itself. So that's it.
Hey, good review. Thanks.
Good job, boys.
Nice. I got stuff to watch.
58 minutes
Very
of
well
prime
done.
review that went down
Everyone
here.
go watch The Bear. That's mandatory.
Stop Bear.
I don't want anyone back on this show next week without having seen at least season 1.
Okay. Can I make a recommendation? I'm going to do this next week, but it's Predestination.
Okay.
Ethan Hawke. The trippiest movie I've ever seen. Ever.
Wow.
Wait, can I guess?
Yeah.
Is it Predestination?
That's what it is.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
It's time travel. Wow.
Well, you gotta tune in next week.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, here.
All right.
And I'm going to watch The Bear too.
Thank you to Marcy. I want to say thank you to Marcy. If that's Stifter's mom.
Yeah.
Marcy, thank you for recommending The Righteous Gemstones. I am completely caught up. It is an amazing show. Also one of the best shows on TV. So thank you for that recommendation.
Did you just start watching it?
I just started. Remember that week I was on and she talked about it. I started watching it the next day and I'm all caught up.
Yeah, that show is crazy. Also, those characters are insane. And I think there's another season coming now too. So
yeah, they just got renewed.
All right, Mick, tell everyone about Scene Snobs and all your goodness, and let's say goodnight.
Yeah, guys, go check out thescenesnobs.com. We are all over. We have great shows on YouTube. We also have great podcasts. The Scene Snobs podcast is our main flagship. Just really fun stuff. We have lots of cool stuff. Jeff is going to actually be on the show coming up in September. We can't wait to be on the show with him. We're doing a lot of guest co-hosts. So, yeah, just go check us out and let us know what you think.
Awesome. Thanks
cool.
for hanging with us, Mick. Bob,
Yeah.
say goodnight.
Hey, come out to Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle August 16th to see the Gray Matter show. It's over 60 comedy. It's myself and Norm Stultz and Connie Ettinger and Mike Bonner and Coco. And it's the 17th. Come to Genetti's and see the Sal and Bob show live. We have a great lineup, including Norm Stultz and
Norm is the
Sean
best.
Shank. Yeah, he is. I call him the maestro. He's going to be there.
I keep getting letters from my fans asking me when I'm going to be back.
Yeah, we're going to have
Sal,
an all-star
say
show
goodnight.
soon.
I have
Yeah,
to
say
get back.
goodnight.
Jeff's
No one's been on twice.
Everything Bob
Okay.
just said. August 17th at Genetti's. If you're out in Ann Arbor or in the area, I'll be at the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase August 25th, 26th. Thanks for watching.
Oh, that's my birthday. Maybe I'll come see you.
Come on out, Jeff.
Awesome. And I'm Jeff Dwoskin, Classic Conversations.
Rank number 1 on Apple.
Number 1 on
Number
Amazon.
1. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Peace.
And that has been another episode of Crossing the Streams. Join us every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, live on Facebook and YouTube. Follow The Jeff Dwoskin Show on YouTube to be alerted every time we go live with your hosts, Jeff Dwoskin, Ron Lippett, Howard Rosner, Bob Phillips, Sal D'Amelio. We're all in the socials. Follow us, listen to our podcasts, Classic Conversations, and The Sal and Bob Show. Check them all out, and we'll see you next week and every week when we cross more streams right here. See you then.